Does that work? Oh, of course it's not going to work now, is it? Hang on. This should work. It should work. Do that. Why does this never work? Why does this not work again? Can you hear me? The answer seems to be yes, you can hear me. The question now is why is my mouth not moving? Just trying to find the bit where it changes it. Interesting. Okay, here we go. This looks like it should be. I don't know. It used to be that it would work when I poked it, but it's not joining in at the moment. And I didn't even do the OBS update. Don't know why it's not working. Hang on. No, that's not made any difference. Okay. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea why that's not working now. But anyway, I know you can't see me, so we might as well let me put a note up. Dog. So, tell you what. Oh well, apologies for that. Sorry about stick coming, but there we go. As I'm not working, you can now have a better view of all of that. So, I'm going to show you this, which, as we know, is some tatting I've done. Come on, focus, miserable camera. Come on. There you go. Now, the join, still a bit pants. Could be better. But this was me using some really shitty thread. I say that with love. Now I know that's going to sound a little contradictory, But let me show you my problem with it. Hang on. I must put it in there. Okay. There it is. You know me and my tins. Look at this thread, right? It looks all right. Oops, I throw my pliers on the floor. I'll pick those up before I stub my toe on them. So it looks like a tube of thread, and for the most part, yeah, it is. Now I've got a bit of a sore thumb, so occasionally I will moan about it this evening. But it looks like thread. I mean, how much more thready can a thread be? Well, the problem is, you tie a knot in this. It's harder than it sounds, actually. Let's make it a bit nearer the end, because we don't want to fudge up it too much. So if I make a knot and pull it, it will undo. See, tiny bit of movement, and it's already undoing. It doesn't want to deviate from being straight. Amy, you're not helping, darling. No, doggy help is not doggy. It's not help that I need. Thank you. So as a result of which, it does actually make tatting with it kind of difficult, because normally you pull the thread tight-ish, well, to the level you so desire, and well, it stays there. Only because this is basically plastic, it kind of undoes. But one of the things it does do well is the stitch definition. So obviously only really visible on the lighter thread here, on camera at least. I mean, you can see the red ones, but they're harder to see. And yes, I realise this is not one of my better rings, but it is, you know, the actual stitch definition is really quite good. And of course, it isn't very absorbent because it's plasticky, but it is made of really strong stuff. And I do mean really strong stuff. You could probably pull my car with it, right? So with that in mind, it is really quite nice. And by the way, yes, there was an oops here. I managed to leave a little loop of thread, which I tried to hide a bit, but didn't do very well, which is why it shows up. But it is, I mean, it's still got a long way to go from being great. And if you ever watch these YouTube videos, it looks like a robot did it. Their stuff is so perfect, it's sickening. Whereas mine has a touch of humanity to it, shall we call it. The red bit doesn't look so bad, even though it's a bit uneven. But it really does show in some of the paler bits. So even though that's not the start and end, there's some kind of weirdity going on there. And this one's got a bit of a weird line on it. And, well, that's a join, so we'll ignore that. Why that looks like it's got ears. Because I was just playing around. I've been trying to practice because although this shape's fairly innocuous, it's small that you can do, I won't say quickly, but reasonably quickly. Obviously, the more complex and more rounds and frills and things that you do with it, the longer it takes. So, although not this particular one, if you think of a square that will probably end up about this sort of size, but it's got 3 rings, a join, 3 rings, a join, 3 rings, a join. So it takes about as much time as this. But then I found like an outside kind of surround for it to make a pretty square out of it. Well, that outside thing's going to take about 4 times as long. Well, if it's going to look like a 2-year-old did it, probably not best started at this point. So I'm making lots of these, and what I will probably do is, like I did with the little white one, is make a 4x4 of this to get a bit more practice. I have bought another shuttle, so you may recall that I have already a bit of a shuttle hoard, right? I bought another shuttle, so hang on, pull out my jar a bit, zoom out a little bit, because you know, don't need to be that close for the next bit. So there we go. Right, so you may recall I had this shuttle, which has magnetic holders and really weird shape bobbins, right? It's quite heavy, but I also quite like it, so I bought a friend. Bought a friend for it, so it also is the same. This one still feels a lot heavier, and I can't believe that it's the thread on it that makes that much difference. But I also got, because, well, you know, shipping and shit, one of those, and where's its friend? One of those. Now, I'm not quite sure the point of the Phillips screwdriver end. I assume Pico or something, I don't know. But these are much lighter. They have little plastic bobbins. Thin plastic bobbins, more to the point. Unlike the little... Oh, Bailey, thank you very much. I might not today, actually, but thank you. So if you look at those plastic shuttles compared to that plastic shuttle, you can see that they're much thinner. So they have the advantage of being what am I thinking of the word? Of wound on a winder, but at the same time it's thinner in the hand, which I'm getting more of the hang of. Did just notice that when this turns, it kind of locks. What makes it do that? Getting them out of here is also harder than it sounds. This is the only thing I don't like about bobbins with this kind of shuttle, is that getting them out the middle is harder. Oh, I see, it's got little kind of teeth. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. That's good. Quite like that. So it means that once it's in there, it kind of resists twisting and letting all your thread out. That's quite good. Like that. I got a few more spare bobbins for them, for these ones. And I'm sure I got something else. Looking in my bag of bits. Hang on. Pull them out. Hand them out. Now I can see a bit more. Well, there's the other previous version of that one. And a previous version of that one. And a previous version of that one. And a previous version of that one. So I'm going to take these out of here for a minute because you're annoying. You need to... You can go there. So I'm just having a bit of a clear out of my tray because my tray is getting full of things that are confusing and makes this packet of needle stuff not sit near the bottom. So here, so I got those were today's haul. Just put that back up. Right, so here are some of the previous. Here is the first incarnation. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, but it's not right either. Then I did this one, which was, oh no, I think that was the first one, and that was really sloppy. This was a bit better. Then, although I screwed up the join here, so bear with me as I try and sort it out. And there's lots of tails that I have not dealt with, so let me... So there's that, and then that. There we go. So these are supposed to join in this kind of pattern. Hence, well, the white one. So if I move those out of the way, there's the blue one, there's a white one. So you make them say blue with white sides, but then it makes white with kind of blue, if that makes sense. What would be, as I said before, I think one of the things that would be really nice is if the bit in the middle was a third colour. And I can think of a way to do that. But I don't feel my tatting skills are entirely best suited for that. So what I would do is, this is done as a single colour, as a loop. So this has a blue core. This is white with a white core. This is white with a blue core. What I could do is put, say, the blue and white on the inside and a third one over here, because that then comes round here. So this, you know, 2 threads would make the arch, and I think that could work and make it 3 colour. And I actually think that would be really quite nice. So you could do kind of, I don't know, gold, black and silver or whatever, and so these rings would stand out more. I quite like the idea of that. Might give that a go. I've got some more colours after all. I have, well, these are cotton, so I have an entire bag full of colours for that. But out of the annoying thread, this red isn't as annoying as the beige one. So even though, no, that's not the beige one. 1, 2, there's the beige one. So this beige one and this are supposed to be the same, but this beige is stiffer than the red, so the colour matters. But I also have green and white. So I have some options, and I got some slightly thinner version of this coming, because I think obviously if it's slightly, obviously when it's thinner it's going to be less stuck in its ways, less, it's not wiry, but in spinning terms it's lively, in that it's kind of twisty and it wants to do certain things. So I really need a elastic band for this, but you know, it's weird that this red is far more forgiving than the beige. So I've been busy, but these are the, so that's kind of like a, I won't say a finished object because it looks pretty crappy. But that I failed to do the joins well, so I forgot to join that to that. I forgot to join that to that and that to that, which really didn't. Now I'm sure with a bit of string and a bit of a needle you could wind them together and make it look like it joined together. So I probably will do that at some point. After all, there's plenty of ends to sort out. But that's roughly how it's supposed to turn out. I did say roughly. But if I, you know, so you can like imagine this goes onto the air like that, that goes on to there, kind of like that, and then you've got a little 6x6, and then if I take these, I mean, I can't join them together now because you have to kind of do it then and there or not. Or, as I said, try and work out some fancy pants stuff with needles afterwards or something. But as an idea of what this would look like, that would look like that. Um, so I'm just making these randomly because, well, why not? As I say, technically you can always sew them together later, I guess. Oops. They should have gone in my tin. Hang on. Yeah, right. Put that there. So on some good news. As I posted on Discord, I have summer tomorrow afternoon off. And then Friday off. Kind of hope to have next week off, but apparently only I can save the earth, or whatever it was my boss said. But basically I can't have next week off. So an apps team near us have, well, I say near us, an apps team who use servers that I run have a deadline of something on the 6th. And, well, it's not looking promising, frankly. But and it's not my fault. I built my boxes ages ago. So, you know, got that to do. Ooh, there's an escaped thing. Hang on. Let's put this back in there. I'm just having a bit of a tidy up while I talk to you. So, this needs to go in here. So, yeah, I'm kind of slightly disappointed because I kind of wanted next week off for the monsters and memory test. And the fact is, you know, I've got, well, when I logged in this morning, I had 150 odd hours of holiday to book. So, slightly frustrating because, you know, I booked a load of stuff and then boss said no to that too. Because months ago I booked my Christmas holiday and boss came back last week and went, no. And it was like, but I tried to book that 4 months ago. But apparently they can't do me without me for that long. So, that's fine, I guess. But there is that little bitter part of me that says, well, I'm sorry, but you've had like 11 months notice. I'm allowed to take holiday, so slightly bitter, but there we go. I get it, but it doesn't mean I have to like it, is the short answer. I do feel slightly aggrieved, but that's the way it goes. But anyway, for the cotton, I have lots of colours, so let me zoom all the way out actually. So I have lots of colours. I have lots of colours. So I've actually got some more, I think, somewhere. I'm sure there was a dark red one and a green one and a... but I've got more colours of cotton, so I could try a 3-prong colour effect thing. So yeah, that would be it. I've got options of colours. I can do shades and something with that. Wouldn't be surprised if there's another one of these escapes somewhere. The bag I've got for these is actually technically too small. As you can see, it's kind of full. So, but I wanted them all in one go. What did the co-worker have to say? It's bound to be co-worker. It was. So, that's me all caught up. But I am slightly looking forward to getting off early tomorrow, getting a bit of a good nap in, because as you know, tiredness is distinctly a thing. Um, Gives me time to spend with the puppies as well, so we can play stupid games and hugs and during daylight hours, which is much harder in the winter, as you all know, especially as we're in cold, wet season now, rather than warm and wet or slightly moist and hot or cool and wet season. This is the beginning. Well, this is more the cool and wet season, mainly wet. So it's maybe wet and cool. January will bring the cold and wet season in roughly equal measures. Because for the most part, I've said this ever since I was a kid. There's a line in Jerusalem which says, "England's green and pleasant lands." Yeah, it's mould. It's fucking mould, man. It's mould from the cold and the damp, you know? It's moss and mould. Not the moss doesn't look nice, because it can. But it's not green, as in grass and happiness. It is much more mould. Hey Nutcasser, how are you? Hello, Rory. Do you love me very much? I think you do. Hello, little man. Nine. He's a good boy. You're in the way though, my man. You are. You are in the way. Looking very pleased with yourself. What have you done? What have you done? Don't shove your whiskers up my nose. Can you not lick my jumper, little boy? Hey. Yes, good boy. It is time for a Rory hug, everybody. For he is a good boy and he is loved. Only when he's asleep, but you know. Rory, stop licking my hands, my little man. I found a good bit. I found a good bit. I did find it just there. It is. I found the Rory good bit. Oh, Amy, you're a jealous, annoying little cow. You have plenty of huggies, but you always just stomp your way in and bang about and maul and claw and rip and trample. Rory is gentle. I'm sorry, everybody. It's rather hard to lace when you've got two dogs in your face. I mean, we've got the best part of just shy of 50 kilo of dog in the way here. Yes, I do. Yes. Yes. That's over £100 a dog. It is. But £100 a dog. Wow. It's really hard. Really, really hard. Try to do lace stuff with the dog in the way. Not ideal. There we go. Not sure I'm going to be able to reach the pins though. my thumb. I need to do something with my thumb. Bear with me. There will be blood. Hang on. It's sore, as you can possibly see. Hang on. Let me check what I'm showing you, because, you know, always helps to show you the right thing. But if you look, you can see I've got a sore thumb, so... There's the blood. And in case you're squeamish, I will now keep my thumb off stream for a second while it does the blood thing. It's not a lot of blood. I mean, it's not like it's dripping here. But there is the red stuff. Don't know why it's mad. See, look, no blood. Shut up, Timmy Tom. Did. Oh, you honey, excuse me. Getting the yawns here, people. Really sorry. It's only been an hour and 15 minutes and I've got terrible yawns. Well, as I said, tomorrow is a new day, and tomorrow I don't have to work a whole day, so let me take a photo of this so I can check it for mistakes. I've done very little today, it seems, but I am going to call it a day and be back tomorrow. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. Do you remember ages and ages ago I talked about these, and they have finally arrived. Now, I bought all the ones they had, which was a bit disappointing, to be honest, for they only had 8. But these are bobbins, and they have 2 holes. And there is the actual bit that you store your thread in. This is not, I believe, a second-hand bobbin. This thread here is to help cushion and hold it together so it doesn't just fall apart. You wind the top thread around this bit here. Let me grab some thread to show you. Hang on. Off we got. This'll do. So, for example, let me chuck this off over here. How am I going to do this? We're not going to do this with a huge amount of yarn, so let me grab some yarn and demonstrate. So, let's put this back so I don't lose it. Okay, so as we're not actually going to be doing some of this, we don't need to be too prim and pressy about it. So, This is not how you usually wind your bobbins because it will twist. You usually do this. And because I'm leaning on it, it's got a bit of tension to put on it. So anyway. So. Pulled out a bit more than I thought I had actually. There you go. So, for example, this goes on there like this. Now, this is the bit I probably should have thought of a little bit better actually. Let me grab a crochet hook, because I should have done this before I wound it on, technically, not after. So, in theory, you put that through there and then pull that out of there and put it back in through here like this, and then so I'm trying to encourage the thread to come out the top. I believe this is how it works anyway. Let me grab it. No, that didn't work. Bear with me a second as I do this. Trying to goes on there like that, and I need this to go get threaded down through the thing, and I probably should have used one of my bead things. Hang on, this will make it easy, she says. That wasn't it. Is it this? No. Somewhere, there they are. Oops. Right. I need one of these. What I can do is you poke this down the hole like that. As you can see, I didn't say that the setup was easy, only that it was possible. So that then comes out like that, right? So, in theory, you can wind it, and if you watch the tail, shorten it, and turn it the other way, and it's not going to come undone because it's quite well thing. Turn it the other way, and it gets longer. So that's what these bobbins are for, and the idea is that you don't really handle the lace, the thread, it lives inside the bobbin. So obviously if I turn it, you can see and it's definitely getting shorter, and if I hang on to it and twist it the other way. So which way did I twist it? That way. So this is longer. If it's hard to hold some tension on it and twist it, so you'll have to just believe me for a minute. But if I twist, then you can see I'm only twisting. Now it's longer than it was. So it is quite an ideal bobbin in that sense, and I'm really disappointed that I could only get 8. Where did I put the red top thing of things? There it is. Red top thingy of things. The bead thing. So. But see, I quite like the idea of these. I mean, they're a bit chunkier than those. But I do really like the idea of these because, you know, I mean, obviously if you pull on it, it will pull apart. But by default, it won't come undone. It won't mess about. I do quite like that idea. And obviously if you want to extend it, you just turn it a bit and, you know, turn it the right direction and it gets longer, and the wrong direction it gets shorter. I mean, you know. So if I do that, it leaves it with a little hat. Yay! So I quite like these. I'm pleased. I just wish that there was more than 8. And they were expensive. With postage, which took a small eternity for the postage, so I have to say I marked them down on the postage. Let me confirm to you just how stupid expensive these things were. They were £15.41.5 each. Holy shit. The most expensive bobbins I have and likely will ever buy. Although I do like them. But I think they'll work really well for bolster pillow, kind of that, like those patterns that I bought, the squiggly wiggly ones on the bolster pillow. That they should work really, really well for that. The only downside is because it's under a solid hat, you can't see how much thread's left until it goes ha 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 and runs away. So anyway, as I say, I do apologise for a very disappointing stream after 2 days off. But as I said, I've got a couple of hours off yesterday, tomorrow afternoon, so I can get in a good snooze, and then obviously I've got Friday off, so I don't have to get up early. So instead of getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll get up whenever the down will feel like it, which will help. And then obviously the weekend, huzzah! Monsters Memory Stress Test. Please play. Join in the fun. Come be a fatty with me. For we fatties will take over the world. We did really good last playtest. There was a stress test a few weeks ago, and in Night Harbour, at the West Gate, literally almost the entire width of that whole newbie yard was a line of fatties. My brothers, I'm proud of you. I am so proud of you. It was great. And it's stupid how little things like that are really quite a sight to see. Loads of people made ogres, stood in a line. So simple. But when they want you in and just to kind of be in and, to test a few things. There were 1,500 players and gotta be over 100 plus of them. In fact, way over 100 of them stood in that line. Now, not all of them were ogres. Slightly disappointed at that. But we fatties formed a line and we did our bit, right? And it is kind of... It is a really nice community of people. I'm sure that there are some arseholes in there somewhere. There's always some arseholes in there somewhere. You can't get enough people together without one of them being a borderline arsehole. But they do tend to keep it to themselves, and you get to have a load of fun. And frankly, if they play up, the community will shun them. Now, if you play on a PvP server, they'll have it out with you, and you can be an arse, because if that's what you want to be, you can be an arse. But on the PvE servers, which is the normal state of affairs, your reputation will count. If you're not a great player to be with, your name will be mud. So I quite like it. It seems a great replacement for the EverQuest void in my life. But I shall be back tomorrow, for I will have had a snooze. And Friday should be a good day. I mean, I'll probably be tired and have a headache, but it'll be Friday. Oh, excuse me. Saturday, I will try and stream, even though it will mean that I'm not playing the play test, which starts, I think, 6 PM Friday evening. But I will come and stream, because I'm nice. And I'll be playing again Sunday, and then I'll come and stream on Sunday. And then it's back to work next week, disappointingly. As I said, was hoping to have the week off to play silly game and get up later, but apparently not. So, but that is the way that it is. Just wondering what the hell is on the corner of this cloth now. Looks like I dunked it in mid-air. But with any luck, I shall see some of you there. To those of you who are listening, thank you very much for coming with me today. Sorry it was not the most exciting stream in the history of the world, as I say. After 2 days off, you'd expect better than that. But I am very tired. So I shall see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.